this week, so maybe I was catching up on all the sleep that I had lost before that. But anyway, I appreciate all the well wishes that were sent out, and hopefully we don't have that too often. It was part of the reason why I kind of stemmed back some of my streaming time because of health issues that keep popping up. I'm kind of on the wimpy side in general, so the sickies often revisit and revisit and revisit. So it's I don't know. I think as soon as one bug catches me, they decide all of them want to gang up. So hopefully that's not going to be too big of an issue overall. I will try my best to do the stream as regularly as possible, but when we can't, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But we're going to pick up where we left off before, so that means we're on Jabbit-EU. Since the last time we streamed was an entity tour, I think. Gosh, I can't even really remember, so sorry if I get it mixed up. But before we get started, just a few quick announcements. We do have the Battle Chase and Double Prestige event ongoing. Currently, I think it lasts until the 24th of this month. Basically, that means that they're encouraging PvP by focusing on battlegrounds, and that means that, you know, if you're doing battlegrounds with, you know, alone or with a friend or with your guild, then you will get double prestige for those efforts. There's a specific decor and other awards tied to these events, so take advantage of them while you can. As I explained the last time we chatted, from what I understand, they're going to be doing away with these cycled events, at least in the notion that they are now. And later they will be introducing a different type of setup so that they will have the rewards on a more regular rotation. I guess it'd be alternating every month, so I think it's 3 different things that they're going to set up, so it'd be like every 3 months. If there's a particular reward you're looking for, every 3 months it'll pop up. So that makes it easier on those of us that are specifically looking for decor that only comes from a certain event. The new arrangement that they will be introducing later, once they've cycled through these current events in their last form for the last time, we will be able to acquire those pieces a little bit more regularly, I guess. So that's a plus. Let's see. As well, there is maintenance today, but by the looks of it, it's going to be a really short one. I think its duration is only estimated to be about 15 minutes or so. So that should be good, I guess. Quicker back into game time. I myself, due to various reasons, including me being puny last week, I haven't really had a chance to log in too much. If at all, so I've been kind of just floating around. It's really hard to get back into it after such a long absence from building and stuff. I really hope that the bug bites me again, where I will feel compelled to get in when I do have extra free time. At the moment, I currently don't. I just have other things going on that just won't allow me to sit down and relax with it. And I know there's a lot of other builders that are kind of going on hiatus in expectation of the communities feature that will be, fingers crossed, coming out sometime later this year. I know they've been doing different iterations of it on the PTR to allow players to get their first taste at the feature, how it works, the costs of it, other things that, you know, questions that might pop up, problems that they might be having with the system, so that people can test it, debug it for them, and help improve the finished product once it is actually released to the live game. But a lot of builders have been saying that they've been kind of putting things off as far as building anything of significance, because they realized that just like when they increased the plot size for us, that entailed a lot of required remodeling, I guess is probably the best way to say it. Some people just swiped the slate clean and said, we'll just start over. But others took their existing plots and had to refurbish them a bit to accommodate the changes of like the positioning of the teleport pad and all of that. I don't know myself exactly what that will entail once they introduce the communities. I don't know if it changes where the entrance is or it adds entrances, like since they're all connected plots supposedly. So I think a lot of builders are just kind of saying, I'm just going to hold off a little bit and are taking a break during this time. So don't feel too discouraged if you don't see a lot of pictures being posted of people with new projects and things. I think some are probably taking the time to plan the plots that they're going to be tackling once the communities are out, maybe even meeting up with other fellow builders or guildmates or whatever to kind of plan out how they're going to be working it, especially if the costs are going to stay about the same. So yeah, it's a time to kind of regroup, think about what you're going to do, and you know, plan ahead, I guess. Now's the time to be saving up the funds for purchasing any decor you might desire later. Um, Collecting any rare materials that you might need, crafting materials, that kind of thing. So there's things to do between now and then, but I think a lot of builders, at least many that I've been talking to, have been saying that they've been kind of putting off the big projects until they see just how it's going to affect plots and existing plots once the changeover comes. So I say changeover, it's not going to be a mandatory thing. It'll be a thing that you purchase into, but for those that are planning to partake in that new communities feature, I think it's important that they realize that there may be some adjustments to be made. Anyway, good morning, guys. Aurora, Poi, Bones, anyone else that happens to be lurking around, glad you guys could join us. I've been kind of just idling on my plot. Let me get to the first one we're going to visit today. Now, since I haven't really been in game lately, I have not been visiting random plots like I usually do. Oftentimes I spend hours doing that, just checking out people's places. But thankfully, I'm not the only one that does that. So you can thank Maddie for these two plots that we're going to be visiting today. They suggested them, and I'm going to go with those, even though I could probably dig up some of my own. These are just too good to resist. Once I took a look at them, I can see why they caught Maddie's eye. So the first one is titled QVQ. I don't know what that might mean, but this is Maggie Greenfall's plot. You can see it's kind of, I don't know what exactly they're using. It looks like glass for the water, but then I'm not really positive. It could, I think it's just an oversized chalice just because of how it interacts with the camera here, how it disappears when you go under it. So it's just, it looks to be maybe one of the chalices, the exotic silver chalice, upside down, and we're kind of sitting in the bottom of it. And it's just oversized and placed so that part of it is extending out into the horizon. Yes, you can see through it and see the land beyond, but you know, if you kind of just ignore that outer bit, you know, you'll see that it still looks pretty nice, as if this is a water feature, and then it's not quite a beach, it's just like almost like a dock, a coastal little town, village, whatever you want to call it. Good morning, Siskwe. Glad you could join. You don't get to stop by too often, so it's a pleasure. If you're wondering about this weird pink animation, that's presumably from one of the caroling microphones. I think they're the ones with the weird colored swirly bits like that. If it's something else, my apologies, but that's the only thing that comes to mind that gives that off. You can see they really didn't do much to the entrance. A lot of people like to go through really big efforts to camouflage, hide, otherwise manipulate it so that you don't see it. But you can see it's okay. There's people that don't bother with that. It's not necessary. Um, I think they preferred to focus on the rest of the plot's exterior and then concern themselves with the entrance. I'm still waiting for them to maybe at least give us some different options like they do with door or roofing features. You know, even if it's just sticking with like race-related appearances, I think that would at least give people some extra options, but hasn't happened yet. So here we have some kind of a little town slash village. You can see that they're using it looks to be boardwalk pieces for the roofing this time. That's why you see these little brackets here. I presume most of this is faux buildings, but you can see there's Oran floors, there's exile floors, some archways using the metal dividers for some of the windowing, using some of the various posters and such, most of them probably from Winterfest. Excuse me, for like billboard advertisements or wall advertisements, that kind of thing. Oops. A lot of these flowers and such, these pretty ones here, those are from the spring decor pack. Same way with the picket fencing. We do have the picket fences that you can craft. They look a little bit more shoddy. The edges and stuff aren't as straight and neatly done. So if you don't mind it looking a little on the rougher side, you could just get away with crafting them. But if you want the really prim and proper fences, you have to get those from the cash shop. So you see it's a nice little simple garden, got a little bench sitting here with a little statue trimmed in flowers. And again, a lot of times when we do these little or visit these little towns, villages, they are really good with some we see where the buildings are more varied. They use different textures and types of uh, piece combinations to make the buildings look very different from one another. But then we have one like this one where the buildings all seem similar. Same materials, maybe arranged slightly differently, you know, an extra added awning or a different kind of door, or maybe one has a balcony where another doesn't. But essentially, it's kind of the, you know, the same. So uh, either way lends itself to some interesting ways. I think I prefer the ones where they use similar materials, where it's kind of matchy but not full on, and it gives it more like, you know, when the town started forming, they used the same materials and they just got clever with how they arranged them to make them look slightly different, but you could see that, you know, they're using the same building blocks as opposed to lots of different materials to try and make it look like a metal building or a shiny building. And, you know, I like this version better. And I thought at first these were mostly faux buildings, which it seems to be. You can see though that they've actually filled them in. I like the way they can get away with doing the kind of like almost a voyeuristic kind of style of building. We've seen this with some of Maddie's stuff in the past and a few others, where they have a faux building, you actually can't get into it, that, you know, at all, but they give an indication that you could by pretending that there's doors even though they're not working. Notice the window treatments. Those are toilet paper rolls up here for the little swag treatment at the top. It's great from a distance, but if you start looking at it, it's like, oh, those are toilet paper rolls. It's kind of weird. But apparently this is like a clothing shop where they design outfits. So they got a few mannequins on display. You can see some rolled materials back here, shelving, even a little cash register type of thing going on. Over here you have one you can actually go inside. This appears to be like books and antiquities. Probably the most notable thing is the ship in a bottle type of deal. It looks to be the bottom of a glass, I guess. And they've got a little boat in there. And basically all it is, if I can get the camera angle just right so you can see, it's just the nautical bed, and then they've added some 2x4s for the mast and then curved walls for the sails. Very simple, but it's a cute idea to have the little ship in the bottle type of deal. I don't think we have any clear bottles other than the one with the note in the middle, which, you know, the note would kind of disrupt the idea right here. It might be the same bottle and they're just using the bottom of it. Can't tell if it's shaped the same or not. I suspect it's probably the same thing. These little cabinets here, those are just upside down empty trophy cabinets. We've seen that used before for like bedside tables, even pedestals for statues and such. They're using them as kind of an impromptu display countertop. It's got a nice little wood texture as well, so that's kind of nice. Again, mostly just the floors, walls, arches, and then those divider windows. A lot of people love those because even though they're not really exuding any kind of actual light, they look lit up, so it makes it look like there's, you know, some activity behind. And of course, notice the treatment of the wall here with the granite pillars adds to it. Looks like a dome for this treatment here, and then curved walls to give it some accent, and then just the floors for a little shelving back there. Here we have a little outside cafe. Again, if you're interested in the tea sets and those pretty flowers, it even comes with some vines and some of the fencing. That's all from the spring decor pack. Notice here, this is actually the wishing well fab kit, I think is what it's called, and they've just built around it using various either cylinders or domes to make these tiered little step walkway kind of things for this outdoor area. Looks like a Protostar Insta-Hill for some of this greenery. See how that it just looks natural, like there's a little mound of dirt there. Over here we have another fab kit that they've managed to blend in. This is the garden, I think it's the flower garden fab kit is what it's called. And they've added in their own fencing. The trellised archway is part of the spring decor fab kit. Now I would remind you that the collision between the vines on this particular item is pretty narrow. That's why the archway is so huge. It kind of really dwarfs the smaller species of characters because of how big they have to be, but if they make it any smaller, you just get stuck. You wouldn't be able to get through. It's just, I consider it a flaw on the designer's part as far as making the collision too tight there. But if you don't like that issue, you could use the regular one that you can craft, and you can size it smaller without having too many problems with going through, if I recall correctly. They've added these stones just for an interesting little rock feature. But again, this is one of those ways of personalizing the fab kit. You don't have to leave the fab kit alone. You can dress it up. They've got the rainbow decor, giving it some sparkles. They've added extra flowers. It's a nice way of just kind of disguising it, even though you know it's actually a fab kit. They've managed to dress it up for themselves. We've seen some billboards, homemade ones before. This is an interesting take on one. It's one of the, I think it's either called the ornate pillar or floral pillar or something like that. I think if I remember right, this is one of those. There's two versions on the Housing Vendor, and one's cheaper than the other, so make sure you check for, and I don't think they're named the same, which makes it a little tougher to realize that there's two of the same item. But it's just 2x4s and then the travel posters with a little bit of those notes, the discarded notes sticking there. You can see it's a little awkwardly placed because they're kind of trying to make it look like a flat bit, I think, with the two posters overlapping, which adds to the thickness, so it's kind of hard to get the papers to lay flat across the whole way. But if you don't do like me and kind of sneak awkwardly camera angles, then you'd be okay. That's true. That's a good reminder, Siskwi, that there are certain fab kits that you can't build on per se. Most of those are related to certain challenges, I think. But like the cosmetic fab kits is how I would phrase them, like the low grav pads, the gardens, the mining one, any of those that are just there for looks, like the windmill and the wishing well, and uh, there's probably tons. But they don't have any kind of like really major function as far as like challenges and stuff. You can build around, like the swimming pool fab kit. We've seen that one turned into like an enclosed, like jacuzzi kind of thing, and if you didn't realize it, you wouldn't even know that it was an actual fab kit. You know, there's other ways of getting water features now, but that was a super clever way of hiding the little kiddie pool stuff. The only reason you could recognize that it was actual kiddie pools, all they left was the water and the little floaty, that critter that floats around in it. That's the only way you could recognize that that's what it was. Everything else was covered up, and you know, that's a good point, though. There are some fab kits you cannot build around. Again, I think this is another example of one of the Protostar Insta-Hills. And then they've got this makeshift fountain. It appears to be the base or the stem of it is a Merg dynamite, topped with one of those leprechaun statues, and then the bowls are, well, bowls, and then using the waterfalls for the water. We've seen some get really elaborate and use like the windy rivers to fill up the bottoms of the bowls to give it more of a solid looking water bit, but this is perfectly fine. I mean, you know what it is, their version of it, so it works good. Go around this way first. Wall pillar floral 75 silver and sconce floral orange 4 gold. Thank you, Poi. I knew it wasn't quite named the same because I think if you look up the table, the medical table, I think it's called the same, but there's two different versions of those, which is weird, but anyway. So here's a little dock using the same pillars, the granite ones. And this, I think they're using the little practice dummy. I think that's what this is. Can't get the thing to light up. Yeah, it's one of the hollow targets. It's got this weird little animation with sprinklies and like almost like little sprites or will-o-wisps. I think they just meant it to kind of make it look like a little bit of an enchanted forest over here. If you don't want to use the target ones, the what's it called? The buoyant blue crystals is another good option. It might not be as big unless you make the crystal itself really big, but I don't know how close you can get to the edge because this is pretty close. You can see the honeycomb barrier there. With the crystal, it might be a little trickier. There might be some collision going on that would prevent you from getting it that close to the edge, but just in case you don't want to use the target dummy. Okay, let's just take a look at some of the outside bits here. You've got some balconies. They're using the Winterfest fencing for little decoration with the top and bottoms trimmed in 2x4s with a little bit of Merg dynamite on the corners for, like, what do you call those? The banisters. Notice the sign up here that they made. It's just one of those, I think it's called the Alchemist book stack. And it's actually I think it's a tree portrait or something, or painting, landscape. They're using it, so you got wood on one side and it's not on the other, but it's kind of covered up because of the size of this part. So I guess this is the bookshop. This is the entrance to the bunker house, which we'll visit here later. So here's the library books. You're wondering about the carpet here or the rug. That's just one of the tribal mats. You can get that from one of the, I think it's the Far Trader Fab Kit that offers these. They're limited supply, but it refreshes pretty regularly. So if you're trying to stock up on them, it doesn't take all that long. Here's another view of the balcony. It's using the boardwalk. Again, same thing they're using for the roof. They're using it for the overhang, canopy, whatever you want to call it, the awning. This here, the little attic window, that's just one of the metal crates. We'll come back to that later. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anything of interest. You see they've added a balcony up here. There's one for this building as well. You can see they're using the metal dividers to represent a door up here, even though you can't actually go up to it. They're using the rugs for like table dressing. So it's as if you could actually go up there, have a cup of coffee with a friend or something. And you can see we missed the little sign here. I take this to mean like general goods. There's like food and stuff. even though inside you see mostly trinkets and books and things like that. So I take it to be like a general store. Okay, let's go this way. So here's another faux shop. Looks to be, again, faux door with another balcony, and then a smaller one down here. No door that I can see, so I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but it appears to be like the greenhouse, the flower shop. Lots of flowers on display in the windows. Same way here. Again, it's a cute way to kind of represent a building as if it's a shop and kind of indicate what's inside it, but not to actually have to go through the trouble of fixing a building that can be enterable and then have to worry about all of the contents inside, because that eats up your decor count. I think it's more fun. I know there's a bit of a debate as to whether or not people prefer faux buildings or not. I think a good mix of both is welcome, and it allows a little bit more imagination on the visitor's part as far as, you know, I think it's like a teaser, especially with these kind of setups where you can see that it's supposed to be a flower shop, even if you're not allowed to go inside. It makes you want to go in. Let's see, let's go this way first. Okay, so that was the garden that we come across first. You can see there's people's laundry hanging out here. And then over here we have another garden. Now, again, this is an example of one of the fab kits you can easily build around. This is um, the hot springs one. And I think this is another flower garden one. It's not like just once you use a flower garden one, you can't use another. So again, they've built around it and expanded on it and made their own little gardeny area. A lot of these are the snow flowers, I think, for these little white poofs, using the portable planters, so it gives the illusion that there's some dirt there and everything. Notice they're using the crickety old uh, crafted picket fences rather than the ones that are super straight. They're still just as nice. I mean, you can see it's a bit of a fence. It's a little wonky in places, but I think that gives it a little bit of extra character. This probably would be a great place for like a wedding ceremony. That's kind of what it reminds me of. You can see just by some of the things set out, you can see what appears to be a piano over here, a little banquet table. So this would be an ideal place for a wedding celebration or a birthday party, something like that. So let's go take a look at the piano. And whenever I see a piano, I always kind of hunt around for if there's any kind of monikers, because I know that Flower has gifted and done exchanges or worked for Platt to offer their pianos up to other players, but this appears to be a custom work of the builder's own. What do you call it, a baby grand or something? It looks to be mostly hover park pieces. You can see the curved ones to get this contour here, and then straight ones for the filler. Trying to figure out what they might be using for the keys. It looks like books with the pages showing, maybe, or the snow blocks. Yeah, it looks like snow blocks and then just walls for the edges here, and then 2x4s for the bigger keys. So think of how many walls are made for these little lines here. It's a lot of walls. But it works good. It looks good. Others use books. I've seen some for these use like the handles of some of the silverware. I've also seen those used as the petals, especially the spoons. Trying to think what else. I've personally used like the edges of the Exile bookshelf, or shelf, I should say, not bookshelf, but Exile shelf. It's got those like teeth bits underneath. I've used that. Books are probably the most common, I think, because they have the white already, and then the little uh, the covers of the books act as the dividers, as opposed to actually putting them in individually like this. But if you can get away with that much detail without compromising any other place, then I say go for it, because this is certainly nicely put together. The little candelabra here, I think, is just a pair. Uh, this kind of sit together on top of, I have no idea what this is. It's not a plate, I don't think. Excuse me. Actually, it might be. It might be one of those from the tea set. And then the book holder thingy is just another hover part piece. It's one of the flat floors. But yeah, really nice. And nicely lit too. It kind of brings a little attention to it while still keeping it kind of dark. Notice here you've got a little bit of see-through, almost as if it could be either just the garden underneath or maybe even a water feature. And using those moving plants helps. I think those are the white weeping cups for that. And looks like they're using the same plant for this little like topiary tree. I suspect the stem of the tree is sparking wires, and the sparking part is just down in the ground so you don't see it. But nice little tree tufts here. It blends well, it's all white, sticks with the theme. Again, the archway, make sure that you'll have to size it up pretty big to get it so that you can go inside it or through it without colliding with the vines. For the banquet table, it appears they're using snow blocks to act as like the white tablecloth of the table. And then looks like, again, using some of those saucers from the tea set as big plates. That's why you got the chips missing from them. Over here we have what I suspect is the wedding cake. Sadly, it's not lit up very well, but you can see it's probably snow bits. Well, no, actually, this looks like, what is that, the medical kit for the tears, and then trimmed with the strain overgrowth as the icing, and then some of the curved ice blocks for the little heart up top, and then topped with one of those white snow flowers again. Using some of those ice cubes from, I guess it's Arcterra, for the chilled beer. Very cute idea. Great place for some role playing for party group. Let's see. Let's go this way, I guess. Just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, boundary. This little gap. Again, another little faux door. Okay, I think there's just one other building, and then we can go inside the bunker house. There's this one here. I don't know if it's meant to be like a bar or another shop or what. It too has a balcony bit. Okay, I want to see if I can get up someplace high and give you a better view of the roofs and such. Just so you can see just how well built up these buildings are. Like here's a chimney. I suspect it's the Draken one. There's one that has no top to it, and then there's another one that has the really tall chimney stack. It's probably a fave. You could go even as far as to add some kind of a smoke effect to make it look like there's actually some burning wood going on. But you know, you can see how well they're doing the buildings. They've added a lot of detail for the roofs and such. Hey Faye, good morning. Even though you don't actually go up inside them or anything, that those extra little bits really help sell the idea that there's more to the buildings than you see. Here's a good example. They're using the smoke effect on this one to make it look like it's actually burning wood. But see how they're using basically the same materials, 2x4s, Oran floors, boardwalk pieces, a little bit of exile floors. But look at the different shapes that they've come out with. You know, you have this really tall one, a short one, a wide one, really narrow one, more like a tower type of thing. Add in a few archways and you get some interesting windows. Some have balconies, some don't. I love the variety, even though it's basically the same materials all the way through. Okay, so let's see, where were we for the bunker house? Again, that's accessed here. First, we're going to note the way they've decorated the entrance here. Looks like some trellises. It's basically, I think, layered glass, and then they've trimmed it with 2x4s, and same way. It's the same kind of pattern you'd see for like the wine cellars. Just alternated angled wood. And then they're using the Osun graded floor metal bits for the trellis up top. And I presume some overgrowth just layered up there to make it look all viney and green. Same way up top here, and you can see the whole ceiling of this space is just littered with different plants. They've got one of the rainbow things going on, overgrowth hanging down for all the little viney bits. There's even some berries, almost to make it look like a grapevine of some sort. See you later, Siskwe. Thank you for dropping by. Have a good day at work. Probably some of the favorite parts in this for me are the windowscaping. It's kind of like doing a painting, layering and making things seem, giving it perspective. But this is probably some of the best ones I've seen. So it gives the illusion that even though we know we're underground, it appears as if we're just looking out to a scene outside. So what they've done is you can see they've got overgrowth. different trees, and layered glass to help haze things up to kind of mute any kind of wall markings you might see. We can see a little bit of the wall here, but it's still, it almost could give an illusion that maybe it's a part of a balcony or a porch top or something like that. But look how lovely that is. I've seen other people attempt it. A lot of them will just take like one of these portraits, the tree portraits, and just kind of enlarge it and use that as the window scene. But I much prefer this. I think this is way more creative and believable than the painting. Not that the painting is bad, you know, if you're limited on the core pieces, that if that's what works, go for it. But I much more admire someone that can pull this off and make it look realistic. While we're here, notice the floor patterns. There's a floral pattern that is scattered about on the floor. Those are from curved walls, just arranged nicely into these little petals. For the little center dot, I suspect it's the bottom of one of the tanks or canisters or something. Notice how they've, you know, even put it up underneath here to give the illusion that it's actually on the floor and they're just covering up some of it. The seating is, I believe, these cabinets here that have been repainted or tinted. These are the dressers. I believe it's the same dresser used for the base, just unpainted. Here they've tinted it like pink or purple, and here it's just its natural color, which is a blue. The orange, I think it's orange dresser thingy. I don't know what it's called. The cushions are just yellow pillows, just 4 of them, very simple. They're not even using anything to make it look like there's some kind of a wooden support for the back. It's just, that's your chair. The table is unframed glass that's been trimmed with 2x4s and using the nautical wheel as a base. So that's where you get these little brackets here. And then topping that with the tree table. Looks like a very cute little deal. Over here, I'm not quite sure what these are supposed to be. I don't know if they're like food pots that you pick up and then you take it to your table or what. But they've got these little baskets going on, which are basically made out of the picket fences. These appear to be the crafted ones since they're a little wonky in shape. And again, another woodland scene. Just the way they do it, how they haze it up with the glass and add some, it's just, there's some perspective there. You get the trees further in the distance are smaller and hazier looking, so it just looks believable that that's an outside view, which I find is very clever. It's a fun way of doing it. Yes, it takes up some space because you have to have that gap there to accommodate, but what a window treatment that is. Notice they're using the same bits, that the metal bits here along the wall. They could have gotten even more elaborate and had some of the vines going up along here, but it's still, again, it adds character to the wall, much like the floral designs for the floor. Notice the little wooden containers for the plants. Again, it's 2x4s, and they're really sticking with the lattice kind of theme for some of this. If you're worried about or wondering about the plants, a lot of those are from the spring decor pack. If you don't have those available, other plants will do. You could just use cups and bowls and such for the planters if you want some variety. Nice arranging of the portraits, even the same ones you can see are being used, but just arranged differently. It adds a little character, has that really nice little cafe kind of feel to it. I'm not sure. Maddie ran across this and brought it to my attention. It could be. A lot of times it's hard to tell. Not everybody's like me and has the same name for all of their characters so that you can recognize it's me. But others, you know, they give all their characters different funny names, and unless you specifically are told by them that it's their alt, you probably wouldn't know. I can suspect based on, you know, maybe some of their building quirks, like if they have a knack for a certain type of thing or just has that feel, you can go, that kind of looks like such and such's work, but you can't always tell. Let's go into the kitchen. You can see again they're having fun with the tinting. I like again that they don't over tint everything. They don't tint, you know, every single bit that comes around. They just do it here and there, and that's more than enough, I think. If you're wondering about these, I believe those are upside down pumpkin candy bowls. Um, just looks like weird fruits of some sort. The countertop here, all of this part here, that's all travel posters. Again, it's great for kitchen cabinetry, medical type of facilities that's looking for a nice smooth metal type of surface. The medical tables are really good for that too if you're looking for something a little bit more on the white side. They make great for, like, if you're wanting cabinet doors, those would be great for a good contrast. That white on that dark gray metal would work really well. And of course, can't pass up all of these delicious foods. You can see that they've gone through the trouble of really going all out on these. So I'm going to see if we can highlight each one. Um, this appears to be an icing cake with like a strawberry on top. The greenery of the strawberry is green pillows. I believe the red for the berry itself is the top of one of the rockets from the fireworks decor. Those do come from a special event, the Starfall event. If you go through the quests and, or I should say the achievements, unlock the achievements, and that will unlock the firework decor for you. And once it's unlocked permanently. If, however, you've missed the Starfall events, you can get in touch with someone that has them unlocked, roommate them, have them go to your plot, buy the decor for you, and it'll go to your character's crate, and then you'll have the decor to mess around with if you happen to not be able to unlock it yourself. They've made their own teapot. It's just made out of those metal bowls, and then using some of the tube decor for the handle and the spout. Notice there is a little bit of a smoke coming out. I suspect just by the color of it, it's probably one of the toxic barrels. Yeah, you can kind of see it. If I can get my camera to sit still, you can see it right there bubbling. And there might actually be a bubbling sound to it as well, just FYI. But it gives off that nice, strong, I mean, I think it goes all the way to the ceiling probably, to make it look like hot tea is waiting. For the cake itself, that's just the snow bits, the snow blocks, the wedge or cornerstone or whatever it's called. This here, it's one of the pumpkin bowls, but they've trimmed it with the metal bowls, the ones that's got the 3 nodes on each side, but they've layered it to get it a little thicker, so you don't see the actual bowl itself, just the edges and that little bump thingy there. Here it looks to be the same bowl, and they've just got it sunk down, and then they're using the snow bits again for the cake. For the little icing in the center, I suspect it's one of the fireworks, and then with a different colored one there. Either that or it's the same firework, and it's got a green center in it. The little cherries on top are actually dynamite, also from the firework collection. And then the little, I don't know, little blobs here are the bottoms of pumpkins. It's like the yellow or orange one upside down. Over here we have a variety of, I guess if they were smaller, I'd consider them like those little petit fours. Um, but just little square cakes. Again, it's the snow cubes. Then you've got, this is one of the candy bowl pumpkins. These here are the tops of the yellow rockets. This is a little bit of the marauder berries. This is dynamite sticks. It's the cluster one, not the other one. The purple ones, again, are the tops of the purple rockets. This is the Cassian candle upside down with another one of the yellow rockets stuck in, like it's a little blob of icing there. The fireworks are like the best for these kind of little decorations. I love them. Once I unlocked them, I was using them all over the place, so I can understand why someone would go kind of crazy with them in this instance. Here's another one. It's again a bowl with the snow blocks for the topping and the icing on the sides. Then again, fireworks, different ones. Bottoms of this one, tops of that one. The cupcakes, again, a lot of those are related to the anniversary gifts. The reason they're different colors, obviously, is that they tinted them to make them look different. They're all looks to be the 3rd anniversary one. This one is part of the gingerbread collection. When we had the Winterfest last, it was came with some gingerbread stuffs. So you can see the skull candy and the gingerbread roofing for the start of this gingerbread house. Over here we have, again, both of these cakes. The snow blocks are perfect because they come not only in the square but also in the round shapes. These little fruits, upside down bowls, and then dynamite sticks together. These bits here, those are green pillows and the green bowls. The same ones that they use for the fountain outside. Just layered and decorated differently. Over here you can see they've got a little vat of some sort. I don't know what it might supposedly meant to be. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a coffee thing or what, but it's basically the bowls, a hammer for the spout, and then probably one of those toxic barrels or the witch's brew or the bubbling cauldron inside for the smoke effect. Again, this is a great example of how even the holiday pieces can be used outside of the holidays. You see some Shades Eve with the winged urns. You see Winterfest with the packages and the bags. Shades Eve with the candy buckets. You went overboard on getting a bunch of those. Great use of that. And also different styles of decor. You know, there's Arctera stuff, there's different types of plants. Some of these are desert plants, some are foreign decorations rather than plants. I love this little shelving here. It's just 2x4s for the dividers, and then the shelves themselves are the, if I can get a good shot, it's the portraits, the little tree thing. But it has a wonderful wood texture on the back. It's a big fave for a lot of people. when they're building different types of cabinets and such. One last place to go to is up above here. Looks like they've retinted this. This little feature here with the like wall bit is the tree table. Notice this little fluted bit here. Again, it's just curved walls, insets. You just see the edge. It's great for line work on walls, floors. We've seen it used for like Katya's fields for like the soccer field, for the wild ball, and others have used it for like Pokemon battle arenas and basketball courts, things like that. Here we have a little, I don't know what you call it, little walkway out across the water, I guess. Notice the ceiling. That is the work of the space diorama thingamabob. There's a sand one, a desert one, and then there's the space one. The space one is the one I see used most often. We've seen a few examples of the desert one, but I think the favorite is the space one because it gives the illusion that even though, again, we're underground, it gives the illusion that we're looking at the sky, that we've come out onto a rooftop type of deal from this little building here. So the walkway itself is just 2x4s, lots and lots of 2x4s, and then merged dynamite for the little banisters here. The lanterns, or the little votive candles, if you want to call it, those are actually the smiling pumpkin thingies. If I come around here, you can see the pumpkin face. And they've just recolored it, is all, using the tinting feature. This again is the tree table sunk down, and then they've got the stools inset to make it look like a little place where you'd come and pour tea and have a little quiet time. Again, these vines and a lot of these plants that you see here, the flowers and stuff, are all from the spring decor pack. Again, they aren't required, they just add some extra, but you can find ways to kind of set something up similar without the expense of that. If you didn't want to go with these vines, you could use the Oran fence posts. They have a viney feature to them, and you could probably, especially being butted up against the wall, you could get away with that really nicely and still have the overgrowth. For the plants, you know, you can find other flowers. Some of the Galeris plants would probably work well. The canary plants from, I think it's Wildarun, and you know, just depending on what colors you want to go with. And of course, if you're not happy with the color, the tinting option is always there. So yeah, let me make sure I spotted everything of importance here. This little bit here, I think it's called the celestial gnarled root, or the gnarled celestial root, one of those. That's kind of a rare item. It's not very common. We see it in a lot of Oran-y plots because it's kind of suited to that theme. But don't get your hopes up. If you see it for cheap on the auction house, snag it up, because you're not going to see it too often, I can guarantee. So a lovely example for like a little cake and tea room. Again, you know, a lot of times when they have these bunker houses, they divvy it up much differently. You see there's actually nothing here. I think this was the plan to be a bathroom of some sort, and they just haven't finished it. Probably the only unfinished part I could find on this plot. But you can see if you really want to leave it more open, you can get away with it, and just they chose to make it a lot more interesting with the greenery up top and of course with the pattern floors for extra oomph. But yeah, great examples of custom work. I love the custom stuff. Okay, so that was Maggie Greenfall's QVQ plot. So let's hop over to our second and final house for today. And that would be Xandria Meow. Xandria Meow's plot. Called the Asian Cloud Temple. And you will see why very shortly. Just noting that they did take the time to kind of enclose their landing area. There is a little bit of a gap. I don't know how easy it is to jump back up. Of course, you always have your little return to teleporter crystal that you can use if you get stuck anywhere, but just a bit of a note there. But they're using what appears to be just the gray stones, carefully maneuvered to encase this little area. Now, I know there's a special name for this little thingy, this little archway, but it's made out of cover park pieces. You could probably figure out which one. There's like 90 of them. I don't remember the names of all of them, so I don't even try. And then, of course, the red lanterns. Roped bridges. If you don't have the rope bridges or can't afford them for whatever reason, you could probably get away with just using boardwalk as well. Or if you have the space, just some 2x4s of your own and like maybe some wooden fencing for the railing. I know a lot of people prefer to not leave these where the rope is just kind of dangling in the air. They will actually put some posts, give it a little bit more of a finished look. Anywhere from like any of the fence posts would probably work, depending on the theme that you're using. The Gothic posts would work nicely. They could have probably gone with maybe some of the pillars just to kind of carry that roped look a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to try and use this as kind of like a outlook if I can, just to get a good overall view. So you can see they're using mostly the gray stones for these like little pillared outcroppings. A lot of the weeping willows and some of the other kind of mossy trees. There's mossy overgrowth here and there, especially where there's water features and such. There's even some of the blue crystals poking up. They are using some of the newer waterfalls. That's where you get these little animations and smoke effects. If you don't have those, since they are from the cash shop, you can do with the regular waterfalls. I've noticed some have even been tinting the regular waterfalls to give them more of a blue look rather than that kind of off gray that they come out of the box. For this part here, the water down below, again, I suspect it's glass, just because of how my character doesn't actually sink down into it. If it was the chalice, like on the previous plot, there would be a little bit of as if you were sinking into the water. But this appears to be just layered glass. You can almost maybe see the layers here. Again, the more layered it is, the more white it becomes. So if you don't want it looking like frozen water, don't layer it too much, because it does become, especially if you get up into like the 20s, it becomes like a super white look to it. I prefer that if I'm using it as a canvas for paintings and stuff. I'll go up to, I think, like 24, 25 layers just to get it solid white. Um, but for something like this, that would only look really good if it was like a wintry plot, I think, and make it look like it's a frozen lake kind of deal. So again, they're using a mixture of the rope bridges and the boardwalks for the path here. Great use of the waterfalls for these little features here. I don't know if I can get my camera up. Again, just gray stones and making it look interesting with the different way that they arrange them to uh, make these unique rock features. These little pillars. It reminds me of like Thousand Needles in World of Warcraft, especially this part here. Just looks that way. Just giving you another view overall of what it looks like. Go over here. See his little treasure pile. He's guarding it. Again, repeating the same features. Tie it all together. Let's see. Let me see if I can get to this one over here. I'm not sure if there's actual path that I just missed. Again, another great shot. If you're looking for like screenshot uh, locations, I always aim for the highest point if I can. Just looks like a really nice, calm little lake, lots of waterfalls, and then the different building structures you can see here and there. See if we can get to that one on this side. Again, if you're looking for the lily pads, there is one that you can get, I think, as a random world drop. But if you're looking for a lot of just regular ones, the waterfall decor pack comes with those. It comes with a bunch of the cattails and grass patches, or clumps, I should say. And then, of course, the waterfalls themselves. You get like one of each of the different types of waterfalls, including this one where it's split, um, and the long ones and double ones and that kind of thing. Just a faux little house here. If you're wondering about the windows, those are the WildStar windows. They're using them much like others use the uh, divider windows. The divider ones was the white, bright white looking windows, and these are the bright orangey looking ones. You can see it has the same effect. It's just a little bit different because it looks a little warmer. Both work great for Asian themes. You could probably even get away with using the, I think it's the Red Moon one. It's like a strip, but because it's just a single strip instead of the double as these are, you would have to end up using more, most likely, or just a really big one enlarged, depending on how your building is set up, and then using 2x4s or something to make the dividing lines. do it that way possibly. Obviously, they got some kind of a smoke feature. I suspect just because of the color of this and how it's moving, that it's actually one of the smoky bits from the smoke decor pack. But if you don't want to invest in that, again, you can get the smoke from the bubbling cauldron. If you enlarge it big enough and you can get away with it, the teacup even gives off a bit of smoke. It's not as strong though as, say, the toxic barrels and such. The only issue with the barrels and the cauldrons is you do have to put up with that bubbly, gurgly noise that comes with them. So if you want to avoid that, then the smoke effects from the smoke decor pack would be your best option, because I don't believe any of those come with sound effects. I think the small campfire has a bit of a smoke swirl to it, but it also has the floating embers and the crackling sound of the fire being burned. So just keep that in mind. The building itself appears to be just one big wooden crate, and then they're using the windows to light up one side here, getting stuck. So like this crate here, you see, it's the same thing being used here as the big part of the building, topped with hover part pieces for the roof. Again, there's debate about the faux buildings, but I'm not really bothered by them because I understand, anyone that's delved into housing for any length of time will soon learn that there are just times when it cannot be avoided, or that it helps to kind of broaden or give the illusion to a bigger goings on the plot when you use the faux buildings like this, than only having buildings that you can walk into. Because again, especially on the exterior, when you're paying attention to the landscaping, I mean, look at all the stones being used for this part here, all the stones used for the landscaping of the little pillars and such. All the plants that have to go into it, all of the wood that goes into the structures of the buildings. That doesn't count any details you give to the interiors of any buildings that you leave open. So having the ability to throw out some of those faux buildings to give the illusion that there's other parts going on but you don't have necessarily access to helps sell the idea that it's more than just a one building plot. There's like a village or a town. Some get away with it, but they pay the price by not being able to give as much detail in other places as they would otherwise. So again, it's just a kind of a builder's preference kind of thing. So here we have another Asian themed building. It's got the little tiered roof here. Again, hover part pieces for most of that. Notice the little flower bed here. It's just Oran walls that make up the little trough. And then they threw in the grasses and, well, I think it's the flower row that you get from the spring decor pack. The little Barbie here is custom. There is a Barbie that you can get from the summer decor pack if you want. But I think it's more telling or more inspiring to see a builder put one together on their own. This one is basically pillars for the legs here. The fire, I suspect, is it's either a pair of burning tracks, which I think is what it is, or you could use the campfire, the small campfire for it if you want. It could be that anyway. It's really hard to tell. There's the Falcon fire pit that would work as well. You do have some of the metal bits to deal with, but most people can figure out how to get past it. The grill itself, for the little rack, that's from the Artera bits. It's the Osun one. You can get it fairly early on, I think. For the little lid here, it's just a curved wall with a pillar for the handle. And then the little counter here, that's one of those medical tables we talked about before. Draken floors, Cassian floor on the top, and then an exile floor for the cutting board. Looks like a pillar for the little utensil hanger there. Bottle tops or bottoms for the handles. On this side, we've got a really lovely little swinging couch thingy. Maybe it's not swinging. No, doesn't look like it. It's just a little couch thing. It's basically, again, they're throwing that Asian theme for the topping. So it's the hover part pieces with the drapes, a little bit of 2x4, not quite lattice, but close. An Oran shelf for a little decoration there. They could have put something on there if they wanted. Yeah, it is a swing, isn't it? I see the chains now. 2x4s for most of the seat itself, and then the green pillows as the cushions. Very cute and kind of dainty with the curtains hanging there. Notice how they're using the water trough as a little planter. They've thrown in either books, dark colored books, or maybe even Draken walls to throw in some dirt, and then just put in some greenery and flowers. Very cute way to throw that in. These here along this window, those are looks to be the rain gutters for those flower trays. The little pedestals here for the side flowers, those are, I think it's called the end cap piping. It's the ones that are available through the Palaver Point daily. For those of you that have made it that far, I believe it's just the level 50 area. I can't remember though. Get you access to the Red Moon instances, I believe. There's a daily there that you can do, and you have a chance to get various pipes from the sewage stuff, or some of them's got the sewer liquids coming out. Others are just like long pipes. There's like the L-shaped one and a bunch of others. Among other things, I think there's even a pet you can get and stuff like that, but it's a little on the rarer side. Okay, Bones, have a good day at work. Thank you for dropping by. Okay, so this looks to be like a stage area. Again, it's just decking pieces, very simple with speakers and such. Over here you have the bar or snack area. Um, it's just 2x4s, looks to be on top of pillars. The little cloche here is a covered dish. It's just a plate with a dome, and then it looks to be like a bottle top for the little handle there. Again, these are just regular bookcases, but they've been framed in a way that makes them look a little unique. We've seen them framed with 2x4s, pillars. Some even sink them down a little bit so that they're shorter shelves, but still have the books. This is another way of doing it. They've got the arches covering them up. It almost looks like windowed doors that you would have to pop open to get access to the books. Again, it's just a way of kind of making a usual item that's frequently used look a little different than normal. And that, again, brings a different kind of character to it. So, for this little countertop, again, it's 2x4s, and then they got pillars as the drawers, and then bottle bits for the handles. They're using the, I keep wanting to call it the body scanner, but I think someone said it was analyzer or something. I'm using it as like the little copy machine here. The refrigerators, those are the medical tables again, using pillars as the handles. Again, really nice how they've been able to blend these different items in. You've got the stove here, it's just as is. Then you've got the 2x4s here lending themselves for the cabinet like they do over here. Again, it kind of blends it in using the same look. Then they've got the regular kitchen sink. Some people choose to cover it up, others don't. And then here they've changed it up so that it looks like a dishwasher. It's just a flat metal table. It looks like part of the Christmas string lights for the buttons, and then one of the display Marauder displays for the little panel on the side. Again, medical table here for this cabinet area. This little vent light thing is just one of those. The same thing they're using for the windows of that house. Here's like a little sauna room, it looks like. Again, it's a sneak peek into what's in there. It's mostly decking pieces for the different seating area, but they've got it closed off with the glass door, which is just layered glass, framed glass with the pillar as the handle. Over here we have the double sink. It's dome bits, an actual bathroom sink for the faucet, and then they've got Chua cups for the handles. The base is just those ornate chests, and the mirror is layered glass. Again, I remember I said the more you layer it up, the wider it gets. So they've got several pieces there. This, I presume, is just a chair. I don't know if it's meant to be the toilet, or I'm looking to see if there's an actual toilet somewhere. That might be the toilet there, which is just snow pieces, snow blocks. You've got the little flower pot here. It's just some domes. A little sauna jacuzzi looking thing. That's a dome with the graded floor panel inset, some 2x4s, some arches to cover up there. This, I think, is the base of one of those end caps, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably one of those holograph dealies. The towel racks are pillars. The towels themselves, the striped ones and the lop ones with the little carrot on it. Those are from the boxing gym fab kit, if I remember correctly. If you can make it to, I think it's the fourth opponent, if you can beat the fourth one, you get one of the towels, like a random 50-50, whichever one you get. If you progress on further and beat the challenge in full, then you have a chance of getting like the kitchen sink and stuff. I never make it that far, so I don't even try. I just do the up to the fourth opponent, and then I quit it, and then I do it again, and then I quit it, just so I can get more towels. So if you're looking for lots of towels, that's the way to get them. The shower itself, again, it's matching the door as to the sauna part. Slightly different. The gap between the railing here is a little different. The shower head is, I think it's one of the chimney pieces. The fixtures appears to be a travel poster with Chua cups for the knobs, and Red Moon vent for the drain, that kind of thing. Over here we have a little closet with their version of clothes. Basically, I think it's the drapes and they've recolored them. You can see they had fun with the tinting. This one here is an actual piece. I think it's Vigilant something or Vigilante or I don't know. The mask is from the same set. Um, they retinted the hats, the judge hats. I don't know if these are meant to be like shoes or ties or what, but I think they're bananas inside the cellar entrances. They've recolored some of the folded shirts. This is a hay bale, if you're curious about that. It looks like a wound piece of, almost like a sleeping bag, but it's a hay bale if I'm not mistaken. This here is the Merg banner. This one here that's been tinted purple, that's one of the rolled tribal mats. Again, you can get that from the Far Trader thingy. The little bench here is just the orange chairs. This is probably one of the favorite ones. It works really good because it's cushiony and everything, and it just looks nice smushed together, even though it's actually 4 seats. Well, go get some sleep, Aurora. It's okay. You can always watch this later. You don't have to stay up on our account. The desk is, again, the empty trophy cabinet's just sunk down, so you only see part of it. And then 2x4s for the little desk across. Nice way of doing that. Over here we have a little pet bed. They're using one of the Pumera corpses, which is kind of gross, but it's probably the one corpse that has the least amount of damage to it. So it's a fave for making it look like a little cat living in your home. They got a little sporty sphere as the ball that it plays with, and some food dishes. Some people go through the trouble of actually adding in something that looks like water and like the fruit to make it look like cat food, dog food, whatever you want to make. We have an aquarium using some of the steam gliders as fishies, and purple rock arches for the little stone bits. It looks like layered glass, not only for the tank itself, but the back to kind of help, and I think maybe an orange floor as well. The body of it though is 2x4s. Again, if you're going for an aquatic theme, if you find something that offers bubbles like the clunky fire extinguisher, that works good. Any kind of moving plants gives the illusion to water. Trying to think. I don't know if anyone's actually used any of the waterfalls to give like moving water. That might be something someone can play around with. But we've seen all versions and all of them look fantastic. And this is another prime example of an ideal bit. It even helps a great deal that the fishies actually move. We've seen some where the fish are kind of stand there, like using the tentacle plant as jellyfish, pillows, making little fish out of the pillows and other things. But these being able to move just adds to the illusion that there's water in here, even though it's not actually. Oh, well, we appreciate you sticking around, Aurora. We don't get to see you and Siskwe and others as often, so. And yes, I missed you guys too. I felt so guilty, but I just felt miserable last week. The headaches were just beyond fun. Not that there's any fun headaches, but you know, there's ones you can tolerate better, and these were just like awful. The bed is, it looks to be a mattress with a rug put on top as the blanket. And I love the little, again, not quite a lattice work, but sort of. It almost has like a farmy look with the cross of the 2x4s and then granite pillars. If you're wondering about this here, this little windowsill, it's an oversized Oran wall, if I'm not mistaken, just because of the little stony bubbles here. Again, these plants are from the spring decor pack. This one isn't, and that one isn't, but these two are. Here's some of those lovely fireworks decor that are so versatile. It's if you haven't unlocked them, definitely get to it, because they come in handy in so many ways. There's just tons of ideas to use for them. Yeah, exactly, Boy. That's the way they were. It was like someone had a vice on my head, just kind of twisting it tighter and tighter, and it was awful. No amount of medicine helped. So again, I slept a lot. So here's a little gardening area. It's basically one of the tiki bars that they're using as the shelving. And then like for this little hand spade, it's actually the really long handled spade, and they've just sunk the handle into the stone so you don't see that. Over here they've got a little rock uh, fountain thingy. Again, this is obsidian stones here, and then the old waterfalls that they're using. Notice they're replicating the roofing from the other buildings for this little structure here. They've even changed some of the coloring of the overgrowth to purple. Let's give it a little extra something. There's a lot of color shifting going on here for different parts. Oh, I think I should have took the walkway over here. And I guess this is some kind of a stage thing, because they've got like the lights, and then they're using the spotlight here for some more lighting. For what? I have no idea. You can see they got some dragon fencing going on. You can trim. Well, I'll have to look into that myself. You'll have to let me know when it's done, Aurora, so I can add it to my list. I don't know if I've got it already on the list as an incomplete at the moment or what. Is it your main one, the one with the boat? Okay, I'm gonna go take a look at these other buildings before we go down inside the bunker. See if I can get over here. Okay, yeah, I think I have it on the list. I just haven't moved it to completed yet. Again, these are faux, but it's always good to note. Again, it's a giant wooden crate with the hover park pieces, and then those protostar windows. Same way here. Excuse me. It just gives the illusion that there's more to this plot than just the one major building there. can't jump any higher. You can see they've got some smoke coming out of this one. Let's see, I don't know if I can get higher on that side, but here's a shot from the other direction. I think I prefer it from the other side myself. You can see more of the buildings that way. I forget what piece this is. I don't know if it's the Exile Lookout Tower thingy or what. But cute little deal. It's a good way of getting some nice shots in different directions. Again, I love the landscaping, and it's just all out of the same rock, but they've flipped it, resized it, twisted it, turned it, and it doesn't look like the same thing. Every little instance, it's not copied or anything, it's meticulously done, stone by stone. I love that. Again, I'm awful at landscaping, so anytime I see someone really get into it like this, I truly appreciate the effort they put out. Let's see, I think we still haven't been to that one up there. I don't know if I can, whoops. See if I can get to it without breaking my char's neck here. Don't think I'm gonna make it. I think I got really lucky on that move. Oh my gosh, I got to it. There you go. That's the final faux building. Got a little bit of a porch going on. Again, another good screenshot location. Good view of the building over here. The entrance is somewhere over there, I think. Great stuff. Let's visit the bunker house. There is a bunker house here. You get to it from over here. And get up on it. You don't really see the door, but it's there. You see the button pop up when you get to it, when you get close enough. Here we are in the bunker house. They're using the granite faux hatch doors to represent the little tube that you go inside. Yeah, me too, boy. For the eyes, it looks like they're using the orange sconces. We've also seen folks use the orange windows. That's a big fave to give the little hoogles a little bit of an or active looking eyeballs. For Shades Eve, the others prefer those spooky eyes, the little blinky bits, make them look a little more creepier. Again, using those lovely waterfalls, the newer versions, for the water features in here. And then we come upon this little, I don't know, throne room slash I don't know what. This appears to be some kind of a dais that they've actually made themselves. It looks either to be cylinders or domes for these round parts, split up with 2x4s. And then this is another dome or cylinder, triangle pieces, and then another of a different type style. You got the Orin version and then the Draken one here, just to give it a little, so you get this little sun pattern going. Again, the landscaping, even inside this little cave area, is really interesting. You've got big stones, you've got swirly stones, you've got this little stone pathway to this little, whatever this is. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be, but there's a little bit of color shifting going on, different kinds of patterns. You've got triangle pieces, dome pieces, different styles. You got Draken and Orin both. This is part hover part pieces with a little bit of grass tufting on top. The little firebugs or whatever these are supposed to represent, those are the glowing, it's the pair of glowing lanterns, and they just got multiples of them, shrunk them down, and it looks like little firefly bugs. If you don't want to go through the trouble of having 3 or 4 sets in each little spot, again, the buoyant blue crystals help with that to give little weird sparkly smoky bits coming off. If you're wondering about that glowing, that's that ritual candle circle. There's one other item that I know of that does that, and that is the, I think it's called the Lop Trine. It also gives an off and on glow. Not as strong as the candle circle, though. Hey, Troder. Welcome to the show. Yeah, this is a really clever way of, it just looks like little firebugs. They usually make, most people leave them like full size, and then they're like just 2 of them just constantly rotating. I think this is one of the most clever uses I've seen of that particular item. You can see there's a little bit of obsidian going on here. I don't know what all this is. I guess it's the Macari stuff. I'm not even sure, to be honest. I think it's like the posts and the chair, and they turned it into kind of like a throne thing. I don't know if part of that is from the taurine stuff as well. It kind of has that. This looks taurine-y. I know the face, the head statues are taurine. A lot of people like to use them as natural rocks. They'll turn them where you just see the back, so it's just pure stone. Awesome for you're having a lot of big landscaping where you need a big stone surface. Those work great for that. I thought this was a nice use of the, I forget what they're called. You get them from the art, shoot, what's it called now? My mind's going a blank. Alpha Sanctum, I think. The instant you finish it, you unlock one of these, and then you go to the housing vendor and it unlocks the rest of them that you can buy the full set. This is a nice use. Usually it's like a circle and people have them big and they kind of move, and this is a great way. It almost suits this perfectly. So over here we've got some of the newer NPC animals. If you can't get access to those, the corpses are really fun to kind of fake it in. Or you could just maybe make some of your own. We've seen some critters created out of stuffs. This is another taurine piece, I think. But yeah, what a lovely way of creating a different scene, an underground scene. That's, I think, one of the tricky things about picking the bunker house as your interior uh, space, because it's underground and so many people are like confused as to how to work it. Well, with the two plots that we visited today, this one and the one before, you can see the different approaches. This one took it as a literal underground space. So you've got like roots coming out of the ceiling and bits of stone from above, and it's got mossy mushrooms and things growing along the walls, and it has that dark kind of, not gloomy, but almost danky, wet, just it feels underground. As opposed to the version that we just come from where they actually make it look like it's outside. They've got the window features where it looks like you're looking to the outside, and the sky on the one part. Um, Two different approaches, both work fantastically. So you don't have to feel like you're limited if you have an underground space that it has to be underground. You can do it uh, very uniquely to make it look. I think even Aurora did one where it was like a cabin out on a nighttime thing. We've seen a few um, Asian villages done where it was like underground, but it was still an outside scene. We've seen a few winter scenes, I think, um, using the walls as almost like murals to make a little landscape kind of feel. So yeah, uh, it's just one of those things. There's a variety of ways you can tackle the spaces, and I love that we come across examples of both. It just so happened that I'll get stuck on the rock there. It's a little bit awkward coming out, but we managed. But yeah, so you can see you're not limited to just doing an underground thing for the bunker. You can do it otherwise and still come out with a fantastic result. But this is a good open, if you're looking for landscaping ideas, ways to use the stones, what kinds of plants and trees they use to give the look that they were aiming for. Um, this is a great example to come to. And not only that, a lot of the custom furniture and such, even if you're not going for an Asian theme, like the swinging couch on the porch, some of the cabinetry inside, the desk, a lot of those little ideas you can take and piece together in different ways for your own particular theme. So yeah, great stuff. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we do this every week. Usually, we didn't last week. That was just because I was feeling sick. But typically, unless I'm on my deathbed, um, we do this every week. We alternate between the regions. So next week will be Entity's turn again. I'm open to suggestions. If you know of a plot that we have yet to visit in the last couple of years, feel free to let us know. We'll even willingly retour a place if that place has actually gone through a great amount of renovation or have completely changed their plot. So it's not like you're off limits. If I visited your house once and you've changed it since, it doesn't mean I won't visit again. Because if there's new and interesting stuff to see, obviously we want to share it with our viewers. So yeah, happy to take suggestions. That's where these two plots come from. Thanks to Maddie bringing them to my attention. I do keep an ongoing list of plots that I have down that are ready to view and others that are works in progress. I try to keep up with it as much as possible, but again, just due to the limited time that we have and depending on how much detail each plot we come across has, sometimes I can only visit one or two each week, so it takes time to get through them, but we'll eventually get to as many as possible. That is our goal, is to show as many as possible. Granted, things may, uh, I won't say change or pick up or anything, but we may have to revisit the idea of how it's going to work once the communities feature is live, because the communities is essentially 5 plots that will be forged into one structure, sort of. So I don't know if we'll work it so that it has to be a complete community before I will visit, or if it's just got one plot on it that's really fantastic and we'll ignore the rest, or how that's going to work. We don't normally do 5 plots in one, so it might take a while to get through it all. So we'll have to see how that goes as far as, but I'm looking forward to showing off what people come up with for certain. But it may take some time, because once the feature goes live, it's going to take time for people to actually put the structures together, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, though, always be checking out whatever new things they've got in the shop. I'm not sure if there's anything specific right now. Let's see, it looks like the sandcastles are still up. You've got the surfboarder stuff. There's underwater decor now, where they've got like kelp bits and shrubs and seagrass and seashells. So if you are looking for some interesting bits, there's a strange little buoy thing. You get multiples of some of them. It's relatively cheap, so it's if you're wanting to do say not just an underwater plot, but like say you want to put together your own version of an aquarium, some of these pieces would be perfect for that. So that looks weird. Let's see, there's the alien decor pack with different types of flowers. I especially like these just because of the color. And these remind me of peacock feathers. I'm waiting for someone to put together a full-on peacock with those. Again, multiples. Look at that one. That one's pretty. So yeah, just keep an eye on that, because they're always adding new and interesting bits. I find it unfortunate that most of that comes through the housing, like the cash shop. But I understand that they want to promote that kind of thing. So thankfully, most of it is still available for OmniBits, which you earn just by playing. So take it in stride. But be on the lookout for any other events. Again, we have the Battle Chase one going on currently, which comes with, let me see, there's some sky bits coming with it. There's the bunker stuff, like the bunker houses for the different factions. They've got those military crates. A lot of people like to use them for refrigerators and stuff. Some cannons and turrets and things, even some NPCs, I think, that might come with those. So keep an eye out for that. Get involved if you're into the PvP stuff. Even if you aren't, do it for fun. It's not going to really hurt anyone, I don't think. But yeah, so thanks again for joining. I appreciate the tweets, the retweets, the follows, the hosting that anyone happens to do. Obviously, we enjoy the company in the chat. Again, if you can't catch us every week, we do send these videos over to YouTube. You can hook yourself up with all of those. We've got like over 400 something videos with hours and hours and hours of footage of not only some of the junk that I worked on, but house tours galore. I think we've probably hit over or close to 400 homes now. I think it was like 370, 380, something like that, not long ago. So yeah, plenty to look at if you missed any of our past broadcasts and want to catch up. In the meantime, good luck with whatever projects you're working on. I hope everyone stays good and healthy and enjoying the weather as we finish off our summer. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.